The strength of a mother. Louise was a happy and loving woman, married to Marco, a successful lawyer, and the mother of 2 children, Matt and Sarah. Their life seemed perfect until one day, Marco died in a tragic car accident, leaving Louise alone to face the pain and difficulties. Louise soon discovered that Marco had incurred many debts with the bank and some shady individuals who were now threatening to take everything they had. Louise found herself having to sell the house, the car, and all their belongings to pay off the debts, but it wasn't enough. She also had to find a job to support the children, but she had no qualifications or experience. Louise moved with her children to a small apartment on the outskirts where she tried to start over. She found a job as a waitress in a bar, but the salary was low and the conditions were terrible. The owner exploited and mistreated her, often withholding part of her tips. Louise endured it all for the sake of her children, who were her only reason to live. Matt and Sarah were 2 intelligent and sensitive children who understood their mother's situation and tried to help her in any way they could. Matt did odd jobs for the neighborhood, like walking dogs or doing grocery shopping, and saved the money he earned. Sarah took care of household chores and school assignments and always did her best to make her mother smile. One day, while Louise was returning from work, she received a phone call from one of Marco's creditors who told her that she had 1 more week to pay the remaining debt or she would lose the apartment and the children. Louise felt desperate and powerless, thinking that there was no more hope for her and her family. That evening, Louise locked herself in her room and cried herself to sleep. She didn't notice that Matt had entered the room and seen her state. The boy felt sad for his mother and decided to do something to help her. Matt had always had a passion for computers and coding. Since he was young, he enjoyed creating programs and games on his old computer. He had also learned to use the internet to find useful information and resources. Matt thought that perhaps he could use his skills to find a solution to his mother's problem. He started searching the internet for opportunities or contests that could win them money or prizes. After consulting various websites, he found what he was looking for: an international coding contest organized by a famous tech company offering a substantial cash prize for the winner. Matt carefully read the contest rules and saw that he could participate even though he was underage, as long as he had a parent or guardian's consent. He decided to sign up for the contest using his mother's name without telling her. He knew it was a lie, but he did it for her well-being. The contest involved creating an innovative and original application using the preferred programming language. Matt had an idea in mind. He wanted to create an application that could help people manage their debts and finances in a simple and effective way. He thought it was a relevant and interesting theme that could be useful to many people, including his mother. Matt enthusiastically and diligently got to work. He spent many hours a day writing code, testing the application, fixing errors, and improving functionalities. However, he didn't neglect his duties as a son and a student. He continued doing odd jobs, studying, and spending time with his mother and sister. After 2 weeks of hard work, Matt managed to complete the application and submit it to the contest. Now he just had to wait for the jury's verdict, which would be announced after another week. Louise hadn't noticed anything that Matt had done. She was too consumed by her problems and work. She didn't know that her child had given her a glimmer of hope. The following week, Louise received another call from the creditor telling her that time had run out and she had to pay the debt immediately or they would send people to take everything from her. Louise told him that she didn't have the money and didn't know what to do. The creditor replied that he didn't care and would take action accordingly. Louise felt herself sinking into panic and despair. She had no one to ask for help, no way out. She thought that maybe it would be better to die so she could end her suffering. But right at that moment, her phone rang again. It was a call from an unknown number. Louise answered with a trembling voice, thinking it was another creditor or bad news. Instead, she heard a kind of cheerful voice telling her, "Good morning, Mrs. Louise. I'm Marco Rossi, the organizer of the International Coding Contest organized by Tech Solutions. I'm calling to give you wonderful news. You're the winner of the contest. Your application has been judged the best among all the entries for its originality, innovation, and usefulness. Congratulations! You've won a prize of 100,000 euros. Louise was speechless. She couldn't understand what was happening. She thought it was a joke or a mistake. She asked the voice who they were and what they wanted from her. The voice explained that she had registered for the contest using her email address and name and had submitted an application called Debt Manager, which allowed people to manage their debts and finances simply and effectively. The voice assured her that the prize was real and would be credited to her bank account within a few days. Louise couldn't believe her ears. She knew nothing about that contest or that application. She didn't even know what coding was. Who had done all of this in her place? The answer came from a familiar voice that spoke up in the background. "Mom, it's me. I registered you for the contest and created the application. I wanted to surprise you and help you solve your problems. I'm happy you won. I love you." Louise turned around and saw Matt, who was smiling at her with pride and affection. Next to him was Sarah, hugging him happily. In an instant, Louise understood everything. Her child had done something incredible for her. He'd used his passion and talent to give her hope. Louise was deeply moved and burst into tears, but this time they were tears of joy and gratitude. She rushed to embrace her children and showered them with kisses. She thanked them from the bottom of her heart for what they'd done for her. She told them that they were her guardian angels, her strength, her life. The voice on the phone heard them and congratulated them on their unity and courage. They were also invited to visit the Tech Solutions headquarters, where they could meet other developers and receive the prize in person. Louise gladly accepted the invitation and thanked the voice for the opportunity. Louise hung up the phone and felt reborn. She could finally breathe and smile. She could pay off her debts and start a new life with her children. She could also fulfill her dreams and those of her angels. She could be happy. Once again, Louise embraced her children and looked into their eyes. She saw Marco's light in them, watching over them from above. She heard his voice in her heart saying, "I love you, Louise. Be strong. Be happy. Be a mother."